want us to say to people? Talk a little bit about yourself.
So, when you say Sara Beysolow Nyanti, she's a melting pot of many things. I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother of 3 and a half. I want to be a grandmother of 4. And I am a pastor. I'm a reverend. I'm an ordained reverend in the Baptist Compact. But I'm also a Pentecostal pastor. I preach and I teach. I've been doing that around the world. I've had an online daily devotional that was being read in about 6 countries. I did it for 7 days a week for 7 years. I just ended in 2020 called the Teaching Ministry. And I start with that because that's who I am in terms of my heart and what I believe is about service. It's about service wherever you find yourself. And so from the spiritual perspective, it's about service. From the professional perspective, it's about service as well. And professionally, I've been blessed. I've had the opportunity to serve. I've had the opportunity to serve here in Liberia. I had the opportunity to serve through the Ministry of Health. First, starting with the ex-combatants of the Taylor regime and working to try to ensure they had access to services that they felt that was necessary for their well-being, and trying to negotiate that for them and trying to ensure that they receive compensation and so forth. And subsequently, I had a role at the Ministry of Health at the National AIDS Control Program. When I took over the National AIDS Control Program, it was at a stage where it was not very vibrant. I wouldn't call it dormant, but it wasn't very vibrant. And I had the unique opportunity to shape it. So if you remember, for those who are old enough to remember, I was the one who supported people living with HIV/AIDS to come out to talk about HIV/AIDS publicly. DC 101 radio station on Broad Street at the time, we had the first person to come out openly to say he was HIV positive. We, from there, had several others, Jojo and Fana and others, and I'm very proud to say I was able to support them to start the Light Association, the Association of People Living with HIV and AIDS, and helping them with support from the Ghana Association of People Living with HIV and AIDS to have that peer-to-peer. They were able to really strengthen the HIV programming in Liberia. I was fortunate to attend the OU Heads of State Summit, where the OU Heads of State Summit tabled the issue of HIV, TB, and malaria, representing our president at the time. And that was where the Global Fund for AIDS, TB, and malaria was birthed. That was the original conversation. It was actually the recommendation of the African Heads of State. Muammar Gaddafi led that conversation. And subsequently, Kofi Annan took that to the revolution and launched the Global Fund. And with the Global Fund launching, I wrote the first successful proposal for Liberia, and the Global Fund grant came to Liberia. And we're able to really ramp up the HIV program in Liberia. We're able to increase access to services, access to meds, strengthen ANC services, and strengthen the access to treatment. And I left at the time where the Global Fund grant was now being scaled up. And that Global Fund grant continued. And subsequently, it's moved from here to here. By the way, that's how I joined the UN. Because when the grant was approved, I wrote it on behalf of the government. But the grant was approved and we're told that the government would not receive the funding because Mr. Taylor was indicted. And that the funding would have to go to the United Nations. And so the funding was given to the UN to manage. And the UN was recruiting to look for somebody to manage the grants. And I applied for that job. That's how I joined the UN as a national staff in the United Nations. And so I have been privileged to serve my people professionally and officially, but I've also had the opportunity to serve my people personally, at the personal level. As far back as 2000 to 2003 or so, I started a feeding program to feed the elderly and broken. So if you're over 62, we did a mapping, and I was able to get some partnership with the Broken Association in the Americas and hire 2 people. And we're able to feed people for a couple of years until our crisis here that led to the cessation of that program. And since then, from that time, I've always been doing community programs because it's very important for us to give where we can. It's very important for us to be able to give back. And one would say maybe I had political thoughts in my mind way back then. I really didn't. I remember movements I started for leadership, I wanted to make sure that our leaders were delivering results for the people. So I had, I led a whole movement on the mayor of Royalville to make sure the mayor of Royalville was held accountable. And after our crisis, after we called it Borough 1, 2, and 3, right, in Royalville, I, along with other prominent residents of Royalville, I was the one that led most of it. I gathered people who were Royalvillians and Providence Baptist Church to give food and give supplies to people through the crisis. And after the crisis, people would go back home. I led the Kingdom campaign and return to homes and so forth. So it's not something that is about a job or position or title. It's really about my fundamental belief in service and my fundamental belief in community and my fundamental belief in humanity. I do believe that as a people, to whom much is given, much is required, much is expected, and we should always be in that position to engage and give back. Because somebody helps somebody along the way, we should always be going back and who we can help along the way. So I've always been in that position of service. I've been working, I call myself a migrant worker. I call myself a migrant worker because I live in Liberia, my home is in Royalville. I go out and work and I come back. Never detached from home. This is where I live, this is where I have my home. And I'm proud to say that. I'm proud when people ask me, how often do you go to Liberia? Are you still a citizen there, or do you still go there sometimes from time to time? I said, I live there. And they said, you had an option to live in many other places. You chose to live there. I said, yes, I chose to live there. I was temporarily in the States for some time because of the crisis back home. In the moment I came back in the middle of our crisis. I didn't come back when things were rosy. I came back in 1998. I came back when people were running away. People were still trying to leave. It's when I came back with my small children. Because I believe in this nation. I believe in us as a people. And I love this nation. I love Liberia. There's no other Liberia. And so if we don't put our hands together to fix Liberia, to build Liberia, where will we go? And where will future generations go?
I didn't know you work here, you work in the Ministry of Health, you work to feed people here. You see, so it was important that we heard from you about, do you speak any dialect yet?
I laugh because I was just in Cape Town on Friday. Okay. And on Friday, I went to be introduced to my clan officially in our clan. And there are 42 towns or so. And they usually over the years, from 1998 to now, I go to Cape Town, go to the usual, go and say like what? So I felt okay with that, So Friday now, I went over my and I realized it was not sufficient because now the team elder from So brought to me, I was introducing me to the clan. And I stood in front of them. The only thing I could really say was, why couldn't I couldn't even get it straight on my mouth. Why couldn't I? And what I said to them was that true, I never learned the language, but they love my heart to speak deeper than any words I could say in my heart. Yeah. And that's what I genuinely believe. Yeah. And they told me years back, when he died, he said, you are more than 2 men. He said, because since your grandfather left from Cape Town, he said, you're the first to come back. And usually what men would do, what you have done. And the fact that you come and look for your people, it means that you have the heart of a man. But I always say, we don't know where you're coming from, you don't know where you're going. And as far back as 1998, I was looking for my people because I want to know where I was coming from. I know from my mother's side where I came from, my father's side, I want to know the name, I want to know the place now, I wanted to be with the people. So I go there for Iftar, I'm Christian, I'm a pastor, but I go and break fast with them. And what I do, I will fast when they fast, in the fast I do, go and break fast, they carry food and drinks and so forth, just to identify with them, because we're one people. And I think one of the major problems we have is that we try to ethnicize everything. We try to make everything about tribe and dialect, when really everything is about human life and humanity and the goodness of humanity. We don't have to speak the same dialect. We don't have to speak the same language. We're not even the same tribe. We're the same Liberia. And Liberia first. God first, and then Liberia. We are Liberians before we are of the city within the country, and people are dividing us around ethnic lines and religious lines. When at the end of the day, we're so small. all of us need to come together to build this nation. So I'm glad that they accept me as I am. They wish for me to speak by. They have helped me because I had some security challenges. They sent people from the village to my house to the village. They helped me. They told them, well, they'll be speaking by to her on Sunday. Every Sunday, but she can't tell us that I speak by to her. I do plan to, now that I have more time with them, I do plan to learn.
To learn.
Yes.
Yes.
I also plan to learn French.
Okay.
I also plan to learn French.
Congratulations on the occasion of the African Liberation League, selecting you as a presidential candidate. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I'm glad you mentioned the African Liberation League at this point because it feels like home. I didn't start the party. The party started before they met me. But why it feels like home is because they share my view. They share my ideology. Pan-Africanism. I believe in Africa. And I believe the problems of Africa must be solved by Africans. And likewise Liberia. The problems of Liberia must be solved by Liberians. We need help. We need partnerships. But we must take responsibility. We must rise up and take the first steps, the credible steps. Not just to say, come and help us, no. But actually investing ourselves in ourselves. Investing in our people. Investing in education and health. Making a large investment. Making the sacrifices. People will see it will come to partner with us in larger ways than they have in recent years. So the African Liberation League is founded on that ideology, but also on the social issues, social democracy, social justice, equitable distribution of resources. And when I read the Constitution of African Liberation League, I actually read it and said to myself, if I were writing one for myself, or a party for myself, I would have written the same thing in terms of the ideology, in terms of the outlook, the principles, same thing. We agree, and it's grassroots. It doesn't belong to a person. It's a party that is grassroots that belongs to the people. And that's what I love about it. And so I felt God created African Liberation League
just for you. Have you heard anybody say to you, Madam Nyanti, you were tempering to survive in a male-dominated terrain politically?
What I've heard people say to me is that they feel that I'm necessary for our body politics. I don't join our body politics to become a politician. Really very clear about that. I'm not interested in becoming a politician. And I'm not interested in conversation about a position and a title and power. No, that's not what this is about. If that were the case, I would never be UN Assistant Secretary General to come full-time. Because UN Assistant Secretary General is a position, it comes with power, it's a title that's global. It's recognized around the world. So that's not something somebody who's looking for power will walk away from. I'm looking for influence. I want to be a leader in this country. And leadership is about serving and about influence. It's about how you influence people towards a vision. And the vision for this country is prosperity, inclusive prosperity. A Liberia where everyone can have the opportunity to thrive. You don't have to go to America to thrive. If you have a Liberia that's built on the principles of equitable distribution and equal access for all, not for some, but for all. And our body politics and the politicians are dividing us. They're dividing us around numbers and language and dialect and ethnicity. And that is unfair. It's unfair to the child who's from Babolu. It's unfair to the child who's sitting somewhere in people. You don't have to be from Nema or Basso or Bon to be relevant to the conversation. Once you are a Liberian, your needs should be relevant to the conversation. What do you need when you find yourself? If you need education, let's talk about what your services are required for you where you find yourself. And I think for me, joining into this conversation right now, what I would like for people to hear from me very loud and clear, I don't join to become a politician. I don't join to become one of those that's going to discuss the spoils. How do we divvy up the spoils? How do we divvy up the people? No. I'm joining because I want to elevate the conversation to become about the people we're here to serve. Leadership is service. It's not self-serving. And because I've been a leader around the world, leading initiatives that save people's lives, leading initiatives that fed the hungry, leading initiatives that lifted people from poverty, I want to do the same for my people. I'm just here to serve.
What new do you bring to this table? Somebody will say, since 1847, the politicians will say that some of them making also believe that, look, Liberia ain't going anywhere. Presidents have come here, powerful people have been here. Liberia has never gotten short of powerful men and women. They will say these fun things, they become president, and it's different. You know, what kind of leadership is Sara, Beysolow, Nyanti going to bring to Liberia? To what extent are you going to change the dynamics of maybe politics in the country, or your government providing basic social services so that we'll not remember the past and say, oh, that's the same 1847 kind of story, man?
First of all, one of the issues we have had is that the conversation about leadership has been about politics. Now, don't get me wrong, we're all political beings, and politics is required in every country around the world. So don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there should be politics, but politics should be about a space where leaders come, where change makers come to put forth the best ideas and give the people options and alternatives in terms of how the problems can be solved. So I'm not here to be a politician, I'm here to be a problem solver. I'm here to build a nation. I'm here to build a nation. The difference between a nation and a country is the nation is the people. You must first build the people. And in building the people, there are many facets to it. We must build the people from an education perspective, formal and informal. Look, TVET, we talk about informal education and the vocational training institutes and so forth. Most of them only teach catering, driving, hairdressing, the basics. We need to be mapping out what skill sets are required to take Liberia to the next level. If we're talking about oil and gas, we're talking about Chevron coming back, there's something here for which they're coming back. Do our people have the skills that are necessary to be able to support the services needed for oil and gas? What kind of services are needed? We don't need for them to be Ghanaians, Nigerians, and Sierra Leoneans to carry out those services. We need for Liberians to have those skill sets. What services are needed in the next 10, 20 years? How do we now start to build the capacity of our people, those who don't want to go to formal education, but informal? Vocational training needs to be transformed to meet the needs of the service industry of tomorrow, not yesterday, tomorrow. From formal education side, we need to have a focus on quality education. We have schools all over the place. Half of them don't have roof, half of them don't even have the environment for children to learn. We also don't have the teachers. Most people coming out of high school are being called to teach because we don't have teachers. And what I'm proposing that I would like to do for our people is to bring back retired teachers. Let's create jobs for retired teachers who can come back and mentor teachers who are there, help to bring them up to speed. You create jobs, you improve the quality of the education and the services, and children learn better, improving quality education at the same time. I also propose the creation, the legislation of a Women Enterprise Fund and a Youth Enterprise Fund that will ensure that women and youth have access to resources for empowerment. Look, we have to create safety social nets for our people. We have to create safety nets for the most vulnerable. I have done in my life something that was thought to be impossible. I was given 2 months to be able to establish from scratch a mechanism to pay cash to people of Yemen. I was given 2 months to do it from scratch. Wasn't done before. I set up that mechanism from scratch, sitting in Jordan, to pay cash that benefited almost 9 million people. I'm saying we need to have a national social safety net for the poorest of the poor, the elderly and those who are most vulnerable. Give them cash every month. If we had the fiscal space, I would go for universal basic income. But we can start with cash transfers for the most vulnerable. Right now, only over 100,000 people are getting cash transfer. You know how many people are poor in this country? We need to scale that up. We need to scale up to make sure people have food on their table. When we're talking about the issue of leadership in this country, it's not about the political rhetoric, it's tribalism and which dialect we speak. It's about how we get people out of poverty, how we create jobs, how we lift the poor from poverty, how we help people to feed their families. And what I'm saying is I would like to ensure that I have an opportunity to serve, because I will be making sure that at least 25% of our procurement, especially up to $1 million, goes to women and youth, their organizations, those companies that have the viability, the credibility, and are able to compete for those contracts. Let's put our money where our mouth is. Let's support our women and our youth. Let's empower people. It shouldn't be about politics and talking about whether somebody is from one county or the other, whether you're from Lima, you're from Basel. That's irrelevant. Can you do the job? Have you done it before? Where did you do it before? What are your results? Let's have that conversation. Who's done it before? And what are the results to show that they've lifted people out of poverty, that they understand what poverty means? And understanding what poverty means doesn't mean that you have to be poor right now. It means that you've done something to solve the problem of poverty for large-scale impact. Who's done it? And where have they done it?
When you walk around Liberia at intellectual centers and street corners, I mean, you've been around for some time, working in Liberia. I know you grew up here. as a girl coming up going to school. What do you say about people who think that there is one thing that is holding us, behind as a country, and that is corruption? People come to public service. It's not about providing service. It's about enriching themselves. It's about paying lucrative salaries. And this is one reason why a lot of Liberians have lost interest in voting sometimes. How would you engage people in the different sectors in a Sara Beysolow Nyanti government so that we begin to see that, look, corruption is something that we can fight, and she's come to this table with everything using the law to fight corruption?
First and foremost is I will put in place a very strong piece of law policy and a very strong call for reporting acts of corruption across the country, and create a mechanism, an independent mechanism that will manage these complaints. Have telephone line, email addresses, and so forth where people can report. Real strong whistleblower program. The second thing I will do is to ensure that we have a fast track court for corruption. Fast track court that will have dedicated and trained lawyers, pro bono lawyers available for those who do not have legal defense, judges, and so forth, and we fast track every corruption case and make sure that people who are found guilty are persecuted, they're prosecuted, and they serve the time they're supposed to serve in line with the crime. If we start to do that, it will be a deterrent. Because there's impunity, everybody thinks it's a free-for-all. Look, the absence of law and order is all around us. Corruption is in everything. And you have a situation now where the kekes and the bikes and the cars are all competing for space on the road, and there's nobody who respects any kind of system. There's no system at the end of the day. Everybody is a free-for-all. And it's a free-for-all from the road all the way to the top government spaces. So we have to put in place law and order. There must be justice, and we need to fast-track corruption cases. And it needs to be whoever it is. Set an example, it will be a deterrent. But I think it's just been too long. We'll continue to talk about that.
Will you not be a president who will say, we are interconnected. We are the same. When you touch the person, you touch one family, and it's hard to talk, Madam Nyanti.
But how will be hard to talk? If you are taking the resources that belong to the people and you start using the resources for yourself, why would it be hard to talk? It will not be hard to talk. We are all interconnected. We're all interconnected in the whole world. We are all one global people. But it doesn't change anything. At the end of the day, we need to build systems, and we have to sustain systems in this country. And it is the absence of systems and the individualization of our processes that has us where we are today. Put in place systems and let the systems work. Irrespective of who it is, let the systems work. Government is continuity. And one of the problems we have is the fact that people come in and see it as their personal thing. Some people have said it's my pepper bush. Some people have said it's my own, our own time. Whatever people say, at the end of the day, government is continuity. We should be looking at how we sustain good governance and how we root out and stem out corruption. And I commit to a fast-track court within 3 months, a fast-track court that would prosecute every case of corruption and make sure we set that deterrent and say no more. The resources are already legal. We have to maximize the resources to reach all the people, and equitable distribution of our resources. Equitable distribution, not equal, equitable. Who needs more gets more. The areas that need more get more. Equitable. Not one for all or for one. No. Where do we need to invest more? We invest there and make sure we get the return on our investment. We must invest in our youth. We must deal with the fact that our resources are dwindling away in the ghettos. We must invest first and foremost on curbing the illicit flow of drugs in this country and making sure that we get a fast-track approach to prosecuting, where we have evidence and we say we don't see the evidence, or the evidence is missing, the evidence not clear. That day is wrong. Where we prosecute because our children are dying in the ghettos, and the dreams of Liberia are dying. The brilliance of Liberia is running away in ghettos. We must deal with that upfront and put in place performance-based measures for the DEA, for border control and so forth to stem it, including the airports. Including the airport, because we hear a lot about what happens at the airport overnight. We want to make sure we stop the drugs from coming to this country. We want to stop the drug pushers from using our children as their pawns, and we want to make sure our young people have access to rehabilitation services to get them back into vocational training, get them back on track, get them back into school so that we harness the dreams of this country.
Unfortunately, today we will not go too deep into the African Liberation League's manifesto. I hope we will have another opportunity to talk to you. But what would you do for the first time in many years, for example, maybe to ensure Liberia's budget goes up to $1 billion, just $1 billion for I don't know how many centuries, I mean decades. This has never happened before. Do you think you could do that under your administration?
Yes, I'm sure I could do that. First of all, $1 billion is not a lot of money from the perspective of management because I managed more than $1 billion for several years. I managed more than $1 billion in Yemen. I managed more than $2 billion in South Sudan. So my portfolio of responsibility exceeds $1 billion in different countries where I've worked, and I've directly managed hundreds of millions for the cash program. So, and I'm proud to say I've done that without one steam. I've done
without
that
a steam.
Without a steam. I've done that without one steam. Now one audit has come out to see anything other than let's replicate what she should do. And I'm proud to say that. Now, having said that, in terms of growing our budget, look, the fact of the matter is that the tax regime needs to be reviewed to look at where we should be applying taxes differently, where we should be looking at creating fiscal space in our budget to ensure that tax generated goes to, by the way, our established education fund. We'll talk about that another time. I want to go into the conversation about that. But definitely for sure, growing our economy with agriculture, diversifying our economy with agriculture, there's huge room for economic growth with agriculture. And our plan is to ensure that we harness that. We harness that by having large-scale agriculture production. We have a vision for a rice bank looking at the 4 major ports of Liberia, having border warehouses where we start to stop our rice, so we'll never have rice shortage, but ensuring that we boost local production of rice and start to decrease the imported rice and replace with local rice. And that will increase our economic base. It will definitely provide jobs. We've calculated over 10,000 jobs will be created. And so many other strategies we have to grow our economy. It can be done. It can be done. And if we do that and curb corruption, and close those loopholes for corruption, definitely for sure we'll have the funding we need to educate our children, give them good health care, and make sure they have access to opportunities for empowerment. Our youth can grow in this Liberia. They don't have to go and be any kind of a migrant worker or dying on the seas of the Mediterranean trying to go to Europe, and they can stay right in this Liberia and flourish. That's the Liberia we want. The Liberia where every youth will have the opportunity to grow and to thrive. The Liberia where all of us will be proud to call home. We will all stay here and together we'll all build Liberia. The day for thinking a person can build Liberia is wrong. We have the wrong mindset. You think a president or a vice president can change Liberia. It is all Liberians together putting our hands to the plow that will change Liberia, that will build this nation. And the people who
except that the president and the vice president takes the lead.
Of course. But the people in the political terrain, most right now, are speaking divisive language. They're speaking about us versus them. And I'm coming forward to be a leader, a president who will be a convener and facilitator to bring all of the best of our brains together to build a system that everyone can benefit from. A national system where every Liberian will have access. And I'm calling on us to look at how we build the digital economy. Our national identification registry needs to be the basis for a digital economy. How do we make sure we know where every Liberian is? Who are we? Where are we? We don't have an airtight system that ensures that Liberians are identified. And I'm saying that national identification registry will be that registry that will build our digital economy. And I'm looking forward to an opportunity to serve, because this is where we'll incubate innovation and create. We'll have young people, we'll have innovation cells where young people can come up with new ideas. And look at service. Look at how we build our economy also with service provision. Right now, if we can strengthen our IT, we have young people who are into IT, who can provide services to people around the world, online. That the digital economy is huge, and we have to tap into it. And so I'm saying to you that with the experiences I've had around the world, I would like to serve. I would like to serve my people, us to work together, to bring us together as a people, to take the best of what Liberia has and bring us forward together to build this nation.
as we're explaining about the situation about motorcycles and kekes riding all over the place and nobody seems to be taking charge, and I would always say on the radio, these are some of the least but the most, effective things we should be doing in the country. A lot of Liberians think the culture of impunity is affecting us as a nation. Like I was saying with the situation about corruption, every time somebody is caught, somebody picks up their phone and will call you and say, Madam President, that your grandma, grandpa, sister, son, and all these kinds of things. Do you subscribe to the views of a lot of Liberians who prefer the establishment of a war crimes code in the country?
I honestly believe that we will not have peace in this country if we don't have healing, total national reconciliation. To be very honest with you. And when we talk about the issue of crimes, we need to take back to our beginning of Liberia. We need to have a historical commission that looks at our past hurts. It's not only the last 3 set of wars. It goes back. I hear people say, I pray for normal time. Normal time was good. But what some people call normal time, good time was very bitter for some people. And we've always had a history of some feeling disenfranchised and others feeling that things were good. And how do we move past all of that from 1822 and even beyond that? How do we move past all of that to come to a place where we come together as a people and really come together to build this nation as one people? We have to have a historical commission that looks at all of the past hurts, all of the past things, acknowledge it. This is the only country we've had the kind of war we've had. We don't even have a memorial. We act like people didn't die. We act like people didn't die. We act like people didn't kill people. It's not normal. People died. People's stomachs were ripped open and babies were taken out of them. People lost their relatives. People died. But people have been dying for a long time in this country. We've been fighting ourselves for a very long time. And in order for us not to go back to war, we must heal. We must reconcile, acknowledge all the wickedness that we've done as a people, and heal. And if it doesn't happen, we will not move forward. And a lot of what you see in our ghettos today is trauma. A lot of what you see is trauma because we have not healed as a people. People are hurting. That's the reason why let's say something small to you, somebody ready to fight, somebody ready to burn somebody in the community. A woman takes plastic and burns a child because she's angry. People are not healing. And so we need to talk about national reconciliation and really do it this time so that we don't go back to war. Because our young people don't know war, but they speak rhetoric of war, but they don't know war. Some of them grew up after the war. And we need to make sure that all of us deal with this holistically as a people so that we never go back there. So we truly heal and move forward as a people. So it's not just about a war crime court, it's bigger than that. It's about a people healing and us coming together for true national reconciliation, seeing ourselves as Liberians first and moving forward as a people. If Rwanda could have done it, where they had genocide, we can do it. We can do it.
Are you prepared for the challenges ahead in the political processes leading to October 10th? The debates, what I would say, the different political rhetorics, the characterization of different persons differently by different political actors. Do you have in Liberia the politicians who say that takes skin? Are you prepared? Do you expect these things?
What I expect is that I will not change our body politics overnight, but our body politics will not change me. I will still be the Sara Nyanti who has served people around the world and has served them with commitment and dedication, and I've gone through challenges and overcome them in order to reach those people. Let me tell you, I stood when the Iran-backed Houthis said that I could not improve on our risk posture in Yemen, where I was trying to stop the war economy to make sure the funds got to where they were supposed to go. I instituted an audit that recommended that what I did with the cash should be replicated across our entire portfolio of over $1 billion, and that I would be doing direct payments to make sure the cash got to where it's supposed to go. And some parts of the Houthi establishment said that it would not happen in Yemen. And I'm proud to say that I didn't cower to that. In fact, if you go and check, go and Google it, October 2018, when in the middle of paying the cash, when I was told that the Houthis had cut the lines, the only lines we have for people to report whether or not they got their cash and so forth, given the war, we had over 30-something active war fronts every day. And so we didn't have access to the people. Most of what we were doing was digital, moving money, and so forth. And then with this cut, they wouldn't need some communication. I cut the cash. We're under pressure from State Department, we're under pressure from the international community. Put the cash back on, is going to the most vulnerable. And I stood and I said, I will not put the cash back on until the system we put in place to verify the cash is getting to the people is maintained. I had the courage to do that. I had the bonus to do that. When the Houthis said they would not allow direct payments, for me to make direct payments to people to make sure the cash was getting to them. And I said I would not give any money unless they comply. And they said they wouldn't. I stood. And we didn't until they all complied. I'm proud to say that I stood, if I could have stood in Yemen for the children of Yemen, for the people of Yemen, for the old, for the poor, for the most disenfranchised. Why would I stand for my own people? I'm not here because I'm looking for a power or position. I'm here because I want to influence a people in a process for a better Liberia.
Do you have a fallback position in the event you don't win these elections? What would that be?
There's no fallback position, as it were. I came home at this time because I want to be part of the narrative of shaping our country. I want to be on the good side of posterity. I want posterity to judge that my last active years as a human being, from 55 to 70, and last most active years, some say 55 to 65, some say 65 to 70. My most active years, I want 100% to be spent here. I want it to be spent for the people of Liberia. That's what I decided to do. So my backup plan is to continue to fight for the people of Liberia, to continue to fight for the rights of the people of Liberia, to continue to fight for the rights of access to health, access to education, access to identity, and all the basic fundamental human rights of the people of Liberia that others enjoy, we must enjoy them as well.
Have you done your candidate nomination now? I'm clear with the neck.
I've done my nomination. The Vice Senator, Barry, myself, did that on the 13th of July. And we look forward to move into the process. I'm very proud to say I've chosen somebody who
That's where I was coming.
is also a development expert, because this is about results for me. It's about poverty reduction. It's about changing the development trajectory of the country. It's not about politics. So I have another development expert who I work with, who used to be my boss, when I was a national officer. He was a senior national officer at the time, working on good governance and so forth. He served Madam Sobu as Deputy Minister for Economic Affairs. He also served as a program integrator and program person as the Deputy SG for MRU, working with member states and so forth. Has vast experience in development. Right now he's doing consulting on agricultural economy. And I think together we make a very good team to be able to bring the best of development experiences, development knowledge to our people, to be able to serve our people.
Who is he?
Simeon Moriba.
Okay, Simeon Moriba.
Simeon Moriba. He just wrote a book this year, Lamenting Liberia, talking about some of the issues that we face and why Liberia is where it is. And I look to work with him for us to serve the people of Liberia, to really change our narrative and to put us on the trajectory for development, to make sure that we have a fighting chance, that our children, this is not about today, this is about tomorrow. This is about tomorrow. The children yet unborn need to have a fighting chance to reach their fullest potential. That's what it's about.
Mrs. Nyanti, thank you so much. But before we leave you, on what basis do you think Liberians should vote for the next president of our country in October? What should they be looking out for? What are the issues?
I would say they should be looking to vote for somebody who has had experience, public service experience, who has a proven track record of delivering results for the people, who has a proven track record of managing resources and making sure that resources get to where they're supposed to go. People who have the courage and the boldness to stand for them, and people who will be able to put in place systems that work and maintain those systems and protect those systems so that the systems serve the people, not the other way around. And they should be looking for capability, capacity, track record, who's done it before. And I will always say to the people of Liberia, you have alternatives. You have alternatives. Look at your alternatives. It's not about me, it's about you. And how you choose leadership that will serve you and your needs and the needs of your children and grandchildren. That's what October 10th should be about.
Do you bring all those things?
I bring all of them. And I bring God as well.
It's good to talk to you today. Anything you want to tell us before we leave you?
Yes, Liberians are worth fighting for. Liberia is worth fighting for. And the fight we need to fight is not a fight of our fists or guns or anything like that. It's not a fight of words either. It's a fight of doing the best we can do to serve the people of Liberia so that we change the narrative of Liberia.
Well, folks, those of you who've been following, I would like to say thank you so much. This was an introductory interview with Madam Sara Beysolow Nyanti, presidential candidate on the ticket of the African Liberation League. We hope we'll have more of these engagements, and probably the next time we talk to her, we'll be looking at the manifesto of a political party, why she wants to be president of Liberia, and her vision for leadership of our country. Thanks to my colleagues from PRAM and the other radio stations and online television stations that are here. My name is Clarence Jackson. Thanks to all of you who've been following us via OKFM. Madam, it was good to talk to you today. Thank you so much.
To talk to you as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam.